welcome back to the next episode of our New Depths podcast and video series produced by NESPA. My name is Dominic Mundy. I'm the Executive Director of the Northeast Spa and Pool Association, and today I'm not only here with, but on site at the home of WaterTech with the owner and founder, right, Guy Erlich. Guy, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about WaterTech.
Sure. So my name is Guy Erlich. I'm the CEO and president of WaterTech. It's a business that we started 20 years ago out of my studio apartment in New York City. And here we are today.
So talking a little bit, and I know you've talked with some of our team, before we sit down here today, obviously, one of the, I find that interesting. So I'm curious about that backstory, right, on WaterTech. So you had a studio apartment in New York City. What were you doing at the time, and how out of that apartment did you decide I'm going to start this company for the pool industry?
Sure. So I used to work for Aqua Products. Aqua Products is the manufacturer of the Aquabot, or were, and that was a family business. And they worked that. So that's how I initially got into the industry. But I started in the industry from as a young boy, basically. Right. In high school and so forth. I went to school for engineering, mechanical engineering, Fairleigh Dickinson University. And then when I graduated, I went to work for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals as a project engineer. Oh, okay. So I did that for a few years, and then my father said, "Hey, why don't you come join the family business?" I was a little hesitant at the time, but I jumped in, and it went very well. I did that for about 8 years. And then at that time, I guess it seems to be in the blood, entrepreneurial blood. Right. From my father. My mother's also an entrepreneur with her own business in real estate. She owns a lot of properties and so forth. That runs that. So kind of always being in that frame of mind. And after about 8 years at Aqua Products, I decided that I want to go ahead and do something on my own.
Talking to all different types of businesses and business owners doing these now, and this is the 9th that we're recording, whether it's pool retail companies or service companies, construction companies, manufacturers reps. There's so many times the story comes back to, I was in the pool industry from a young age, and then I went out and I went to school and I got a degree and I tried some things, and then you said the entrepreneurial spirit is in your blood. I think we always say that the chlorine, once it's in your blood, you can't get it out, and everybody kind of works their way back. So part and parcel to that entrepreneurial spirit is a spirit of innovation. Yes. I imagine, and that you have a degree in engineering. You're well versed in the industry itself, both in the technical side of how the products are made, but also the needs, right, of what people expect from these products, or what they need out of them. So how does WaterTech, how did you, right through now, how does innovation play a role in your business? So innovation, do you consider yourself an innovator?
I do. Yeah. I consider myself an innovator, and that's really what I'd like to consider WaterTech, an innovation company. And for me, innovation doesn't just come from the product itself. It's also from marketing, right? Because we've introduced something brand new when we came out with the Pool Blaster, right? A battery-powered, handheld type pool cleaner. And so that was part of it. And then that has pretty much driven the company for many years, right? 20 years. At the same time, we've come up with other innovations along the way. Our battery-powered leaf vacuum. We came up with it in the simple product of the pool pouch. We have our robotic line, our battery-powered CX1 Volt 550 robotic line. So innovation has been a driver. And what's interesting with innovation is that doesn't mean everybody can see what you want to do, right? So today, people say, "Oh, pool blaster, battery power cleaner, of course." But back 20 years ago, nobody wanted to even touch it. Basically, I remember when I first started my business, I was looking for investors, right? I had already spent everything I had, right? So I had some money I had saved up. I spent that. I had my apartment in New York City that I own. Luckily, I had to refinance that to maintain the business. I had some other properties I had bought along the way as investment property. I had to sell them, right, just to get money to get going. But that was just for development. But when I got to the point of now actually I'm going to manufacturing, didn't have the resources to do that. So I had gone to the industry with kind of a little prototype in my hand and some idea. And at the time, 50% of the people I approached didn't think this would even be a business that would be successful. Right. Today they come to me at the show and say, "Guy, I should have invested with you," because now they see it. So what happens as an innovator, it's difficult for everybody to see the vision. Right. So 50% of people didn't. The other 50% said, "Go for it. That's fantastic." Right. So, but now I had to bet my entire life and whatever I had left whether or not this is going to go. Obviously, we know where it went and so forth. So, innovation kind of starts from many things. And for us as innovators, I see we're only in the beginning processes. I remember one of these people that I met with originally that wanted to invest. He feels everything's been invented for the pool business already, and I'm seeing a whole world of items that we can do.
That's the famous innovation curve, right?
Yeah.
Like the innovator stuck in that narrow piece. It's tough to get everybody to see until something becomes adopted, and then on the look back, it's easy.
And the look back, it's easy. Exactly. And what I go for. My goal when I innovate something, and we as a company, come up with it, right? So I may be a driver of ideas, but then it's us as a company, the group of engineers that we have that drive and finesse it and make it into the perfect item. And part of what I love and enjoy, and which we got out of the first 10 years of Pool Blaster coming out, was, if you remember the old V8 commercial, where there used to be the commercial where it'd be like, was it the V8 train? They go, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" And that's what the first Pool Blasters had. People come to the show and be like, "Why did I think of that?" Right? And that's where it comes down to maintaining our business and trying to make sure that other adopters don't try to wiggle into our space.
So on a zoom out for a second, looking at the industry holistically, do you think that the industry has a strong spirit of innovation across the board, or do you think that it's a few companies are kind of driving that? Do you think there's a lot of opportunity?
There's tons of opportunity.
There's always room to innovate, right?
Yeah, I think you have some people that may consider themselves innovators, or some companies that really are trying to innovate. But I think across the board, right, other than the big companies that have the money and the mindset to put time to it, I think that there's a problem in this industry where there's not a lot of innovation. Right, especially the mid-sized, the smaller companies. They may have come up with one product, but there's nothing more to it. And the worst thing, I think, for our industry, and the worst thing that I hate to hear when I go to trade shows, is there's nothing new here. I hear a lot of people not even wanting to go to the trade shows anymore. Obviously, post-COVID, I'm sure a lot of people will come, but in general, year after year, people say, "I'm going to go every other year," because there's nothing new to see there. Or they'll say, I'm big enough they're going to come visit me, that kind of thing. Where if you compare us to another industry, the CES show, Consumer Electronics Show.
One of the largest trade shows in the country.
Exactly. People go there just to see what's new. And you have small companies to large companies coming up with new innovative things. Right? We're so far away from that as an industry, right? So this is not just about water tech coming up with things. This is about all manufacturers need to do it to add excitement to the industry, add excitement to the dealers, for the consumers to have something new. Because otherwise, right now, most consumers are just replacing what they had.
Right.
All right. My goal is to make them to find something new, right? And that's where part of what's made us successful is that on the show, on the floor of the stores, we're coming with something new.
Right.
So when it jumps out at them, makes the dealers want to give us space because it's not something they have already.
Yeah. And just stay on this for 1 second. Innovation is interesting to me because when I talk to our dealers, members, right, and it's not, innovation isn't bound by just a product, inventing something. You can innovate in your processes, you can innovate in your marketing, you can innovate in your contracts. I mean, what has always been doesn't have to be what always is, right? Yes. And sometimes for a service company, it may be how they approach their routing or how they approach their hiring process that could separate them. Because when people come to programs, right, they come to the show, they go to education, they come to the floor. We as an association are broad, right? You're going to take a class on water chemistry, you're going to take a class on pool cleaning, whatever it may be. And that's speaking to 50 companies in a room. You have to take that back, right? and say, okay, so this is the science of how to get the water to a certain, but how am I going to actually do it, right? What's my process going to be? What's my training going to be for how am I going to be more efficient than the next guy in doing the same thing, right? So constantly having that spirit in your own business, whatever your business is, right? Can help the industry grow and change and evolve.
I agree. I don't see just innovation, just new products, right? So I see us as, for example, we innovated and came up with the pool blaster, but from there, it really came into a marketing side. How do you make it so that everybody can be a part of the business, right? So what happened was we first came out with our classic line of cleaners, original Pool Blaster Max, and it was very successful. And the dealers, the early adopters took it on, and we had a large success. And then all of a sudden, the internet started really gaining speed, right? All these internet sellers and so forth. And all of a sudden, the dealers that could make money selling the products, they couldn't anymore, just evaporated because the prices on the internet came so low. So talking about innovation, that's when we innovated and came out with our Vault line just for the dealer trade. It's a mat protected, and we fight very hard day and night with people dedicated just to making sure that it's not going to appear on some website for sale at a lower price, right? So again, that's a kind of innovation, and that's why I think it's also important for the industry, because we started this back in 2011, 12, 13, right? But I think it's important for us as an industry, the manufacturers, to support a mom and pop dealer base, to let them know this is what the expression butter or bread. That's where it started, right? So I have a special place inside me that's going to protect the dealers the best we can. Yeah. Because it's important. Because ultimately, how does someone know to buy something online? They see it in the stores. And if we don't know what we do to make sure they can make the margins and they can be healthy businesses and make sure this product's just for them, we're doing a long-term disservice. So I think what's very important for us, for the dealers, us as meaning manufacturers, you need that. The internet's going to be a channel. We can't do anything about it. But there has to be something just for the dealers. It can't just be about gross sales and the bottom line. It has to be separated. So what are we going to do for the dealers today to make sure they have something healthy to fight against everything else?
The internet is ubiquitous. It's an environmental condition. It's not a competitor at this point. So it's something that has to be reacted to.
Exactly. Exactly. And dealers see that. Dealers know that today. Before it used to be like, the internet. But then they realize they have to live with it, right? But it's us as manufacturers that say, okay, we're just going to sell tons of these. Whoever sells the most, okay. No, we need to separate the basic dealers from the internet and give them something special. That's why to our brick and mortar dealers, we give them 2-year warranties versus the internet 1-year warranties and all kind of things, better specs, whatever we can do to make sure that to create that separation.
Nice. So you're in your apartment, you come up with some products, you launch a company, the company is successful, you take it to market, and one of the best places to do this, totally self-serving, is at the Pool and Spa Show in Atlantic City.
Definitely.
But I'm sure you go to other trade shows and other events. How you touched on this already a little bit, that sometimes some of the products are the same year over year, and you try to bring new stuff. But for you, for WaterTech, how have those shows been successful as a way to reaching the market, and how do you view?
For me, it's vital, right? For a few reasons. On a personal level, it's vital because why did I agree to this, right? Obviously, it's marketing-wise, all kind of things, but ultimately, to let people know a little bit about me, right? Me meaning WaterTech, right? Because we have so many customers out there, and I may meet them at a show here and there, but it allows them to have a little bit of insight into what we're thinking about as an organization, and myself, of course, right? Now, going to the shows is sometimes the one time a year that I have a chance to meet my customers.
Sure. Right?
And it's funny because every new hire we have, I meet, and no matter what level, okay? And so we have customer service people, just like another company. We kind of ramp up for the in season.
Sure.
And we bring customer service people in because we have 7 days a week customer service, right? So when the consumer has an issue, we don't want them running back to the store. We want to try to take care of it for them. But before we hire them, I need to meet them, right? I want to know who's joining our organization, and I want to let them get across the message from me. And my message to them is that, and it's really ironic, they're going to speak to more of my customers in a day than I may speak to in a whole entire year.
Right.
I mean, the customer, meaning the consumers.
Right.
and they know nothing about the product. We give them a very extensive training, very extensive, making sure they touch the machines, do everything. But at the end of the day, they can speak to more consumers than I do. Right? Now, so what's important with the trade show, especially at the NESPA in Atlantic City, is that we are able to now meet the dealer and try to get that dealer to understand what we're doing so they can portray it to their consumer. Right? So they have it in their control.
Right. And it's a benefit for them as well. And I imagine the feedback, right? Like, you can take someone saying that something is really good, or that they're having a struggle with something that in your product line as just they like it or they don't, or you can take that as receptive criticism and feedback to, maybe there's something there. Maybe that's how you grow and find the next idea.
I put myself out there every time I can, which is I'm not looking for the accolades, how great your product is. I'm looking for what problem did you have.
Right.
That's what we look for. And the whole organization is that, because I believe everything can be done better. Everything we're doing, okay, and we're a leader in what we do, but everything we can do better. And that's part of what makes us successful. But at the trade shows, especially in Atlantic City, I send everybody. Pretty much the whole building empties out and goes there, right? Which makes it very unique to any other show. The international show they don't go to, the regional shows they don't go to, our salespeople, things like that will go to. But here, from every level, whether it be marketing, we've had people from logistics come there and even work their show. Okay, they'll learn about the products. We have even I'll have my HR woman be there that have been at the show. So everybody in the organization has been there because they need to understand who our customer is. I don't want to just be a blind order coming in from such and such pool store. They need to try to have met these people, understand. Right? The engineering team, all right? They're coming and they're sitting in the booth because they're looking for what we can make it better. Because one question I always ask the engineering team, every year we do a review of all the data we can find that lives out online and of what we can do to improve our product. All right? So the engineers being there is a vital part of that.
Yeah. And that means finding out where the pain points are.
Finding out where the pain points are.
At the end of the day, you can do a lot of things to improve your product, but if it doesn't help somebody clean their pool better or do their job better, then
that's what it is. We're always trying to improve. Always trying to improve. So it's very, very important. But a lot of it we learn in Atlantic City.
So I was looking at your social. I was looking at your Instagram and your website and information about your product. So you seem like you do tailor a lot of that to the consumer, who can then support your products. So how have you grown your marketing over the years with WaterTech to, again, small business into large successful company? What are some things you're doing to reach your
So a lot of what we're doing
base?
now really is only just starting, right? So a lot of our marketing was in store or in the catalog, right? Displays, things like that, because that's where the consumer's going. Right. But now, in the age of everything being so digital, we are working hard. So we have a person we've hired that's just going to do our brand management on social media and all those type of things, whether it be a Google or whether it be some kind of blogs, whether it be a Facebook, all the different things. And it's really getting to areas that we still have a lot to learn about, but we hired professionals to bring in just to do it. And we're also doing is reaching out, because we're finding that sometimes consumers, they may have service companies never even go into a pool store. Or they just go in there really quick, pick something up. So what we learned, there's a whole untapped market, people that just don't go in the pool store. The service guy comes there, takes care of their pool. They may buy a toy or something, and that's it. So we're trying to see how do we get to them to let them know, because our products don't take away from the service person. I still have plenty of things a service gentleman or girl has to do at the pool. But in between, there's a rainstorm or a windstorm, they get stuff in the pool, how do they get it out easily? That's where our products fit in there, and we're trying to make sure that the consumer knows about our products.
Great. So, is it really the whole company story is interesting to me, and you're a really interesting guy. What other advice for the industry or anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to share with our membership and viewers and listeners?
Look, one thing for sure is that our company took a long time to build, right? And just the other day, I called somebody else in the industry and I said, I love what I do. I literally said, I almost felt guilty for loving it so much, what I do, after 20 years, right? And why do I feel that way? It's not just a passion, and that's what we all feel. We ooze it out here, right? It really comes down to, I feel that we're only in the beginning stages of our business, right? Because the first 20 years took a lot of innovation of getting the product out there, right? Every time we turned around, all of a sudden somebody else is selling the product, or all of a sudden they can't compete online. So now we need to make them their own private label type of machine for them.
Yeah.
They're using the Pool Blaster brand. So a lot of it came into making different colors and models. But now we've kind of matured that. And now we have lots of new ideas. I mean, I believe I have something that is going to come out that we're going to have in the next year or two, that people are going to come to the NESPA show and be like, wow, why didn't I think of that?
Right.
That's what I believe we have now. And I think that product can actually take our business past where we are today. And that's where, because this industry is ripe for innovation, and we need to find ways to get it out there. It's not always so easy. You know, for a person that just started this in an apartment, there's many people that try that and never get to the point of success or anything, right? There's more chances of failure than success, right? But we need to find, you know, ways for people to innovate and bring out new products.
Yeah.
And so that's what we need to do in this industry.
I think you've got a good idea. Sometimes just when you're ready to give up is when you're almost on the verge of a breakthrough. So
look, we didn't get here so easily, and there was plenty of times that were tough. I don't think I ever got to the point of throwing in the towel. But, you know, there's been times when money was tight. I was trying to build a business from nothing, okay? I maxed out my credit cards. I took any savings I had. I had real estate properties I had sold to get money. So it's very difficult to get to this point. And it doesn't end, you know, because we're trying to make it better.
Nice. Well, this has been a really interesting conversation and a really interesting company and history. So I appreciate the time today, Guy.
Appreciate it as well. Thank you.
So that's a wrap on Guy Erlich, President, CEO, and innovator at WaterTech and in the pool industry.
Great. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much for watching today.
Thank you.